And waiting in the tunnel, the officials, and here you'll see a change from previous years, because the FA have decided that Joe Worrell, the referee, and his linesman will this year lead the teams out. It's usually been the job of an FA official, but Joe Worrell assisted this year by his two linesmen, Mike Peck from Kendal and Arthur Smith from Rubery. The reserve official is Jeff Winter of Middlesbrough. They will lead the teams out. Colin Downey there, the FA referee's chief, coming out with the two managers. And this, Trevor Brooking, is a moment I think you could tell us what it's like down there, because you've walked out in these very circumstances.
Well, these are probably the most nerve-wracking from a player's point of view. At this stage, you know, the butterflies are going. You just want to walk out on the pitch. Although, looking at Kenny Dalglish there, you wouldn't think so, whether he looks quite relaxed. And, of course, most of the lads know each other so well. Neville Southall there, showing his shin pads as usual. Hasn't got any mud on his legs at the moment. I'm sure with the weather as it is today, he's not likely to either. But it really is this moment, I think you just want to walk out on the pitch, and I can say there's no better moment for any player than when you go out of that tunnel and the ground erupts and the supporters acclaim you, and hopefully then know in those next few seconds the nerves do evaporate it.
Obviously it is a cup final, but no doubt the players too are keenly aware of the circumstances of this particular match, which they're now walking out to play. And in that emotional climate, I don't think you need any more words from us for the time being. Togetherness is the key word here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we kindly stand in company with their Royal Highnesses for a 1-minute silence in memory of the victims of the Hillsborough disaster.
Magnificent. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen.
For Everton, number 3, Pat Vanden Hauwe, and number 11, Kevin Sheedy, were both past fit. Sheedy, along with number 4, Kevin Ratcliffe, number 7, Trevor Stephen, and number 9, Graham Sharp, all playing in their 4th FA Cup final in 6 seasons. And altogether, there are 6 survivors from the last all-Merseyside final in 1986. But only 4 of Liverpool's 11 remain from that final. Grobbelaar, Nicol, Whelan and Hansen, while the match winner 3 years ago, Ian Rush, is a £2.8 million substitute. 9 of the side, though, were here last year when they lost to Wimbledon, and nobody will be keener to make up for that defeat than John Aldridge, number 8, who missed a penalty. Liverpool, remember, unbeaten since New Year's Day, 22 League and Cup matches, 19 wins, 3 draws. That's the sequence that Everton are up against. And a huge roar as the kick-off. On a beautiful Wembley top, Steve Tingley, the groundsman, and his staff have worked hard again to produce this surface. That's Ratcliffe for Everton, Steve Nicol for Liverpool. Hansen. There's Beardsley. Little touch back. This is Nevin. Houghton. Watson. Two vastly experienced goalkeepers out there today, and they could have quite a part to play. Neville Southall and Bruce Grobbelaar. Nevin. Bracewell to Stephen. Good ball. Vanden Hauwe, the left back. Plays it in towards Nevin. Good skill by Pat Nevin. This is Tony Cottee, and it was Gary Ablett that conceded the corner, and Everton make the stronger start. Now they've got Watson up there for this. So too is McDonald, the right back. Sharp is hovering by the near post. Dangerous and hooked away by Steve McMahon. Just guarding the post. Forward by Ratcliffe. Nevin seeing plenty of the ball in his opening few minutes. Bracewell. And it was a good header by Steve Nicol. It had to be. Everton had a man over on the far side. This is a tight, tigerish start by Everton. Ratcliffe. But it's Whelan now for Liverpool to Nicol. McMahon, a former Evertonian himself, gets some predictable booing from the Everton fans. Just wonder what part the heat down there is going to play today. That was Watson with Aldridge. Sharp working well. Bracewell. Vandenhouw. Trevor Steven, will the heat mean a lot of conserving of energy, do you think, Trevor, early on?
I think over the 90 minutes it'll help the game, because you know, Merseyside derbies are usually pretty hectic, aren't they? Not much space, but there's no way they're going to scamper around for 90 minutes closing down people, and it will give a little bit more space, I think, for the ball players, hopefully. And I mean, Everton have settled down very well. In a big match like this, it's always nice to get a few good early touches, and I think most of the Everton lads have had a good touch early on, which will help them.
This is Nicol looking for McMahon. Good through ball. He got away from Ratcliffe. Oh, and John Aldridge in a great position. And Liverpool have scored in their first attack. And John Aldridge, the man who missed a penalty here last season in the cup final, didn't take long to make up for it. The ball played through was for McMahon, and it caught Everton. Ratcliffe was out-manoeuvred there. The ball into Aldridge was superb, and his finish was clinical. Only 4 minutes gone, and John Aldridge scores his 30th goal of the season in major competitions for Liverpool, and lays the ghost of a year ago. And it really was their first attack, Trevor.
Well, I said how they must have been pleased. Everton had all have got a good touch, but John Aldridge was showing that your first touch should be a goal, because I think that was his first touch in the match near enough, and he tucked it in the net. But a great move, great counter-attack, and really must rock Everton on their heels, but a typical piece of clinical John Aldridge finishing.
It was a terrific run by McMahon from the middle of the field, because to get beyond Ratcliffe, who's one of the quickest in the game in that position, was some achievement. It opened up the play completely, and that was typical Liverpool. The early ball, and Aldridge finishing in style. 2 in the semi-final for John Aldridge, and now the opening goal at Wembley. And Everton were caught cold in defence. Here's Barnes. Staunton. What a platform Liverpool have given themselves now. Number 5, Whelan. Barnes again. Aldridge and Beardsley waiting in the centre. McMahon will shoot from here. Well, this is why Ian Rush is having to sit his life out on the substitutes bench. Aldridge is finishing with deadly accuracy at the moment.
It looked very easy, the chance. Kenny Dalglish, I'm sure, would know that as a striker, a ball coming across you is not easy to hit, but he just hit it side-footed, picked his spot, and really Neville Southall couldn't get anywhere near it.
Well, it was Everton who scored first here 3 years ago. Liverpool came back to win 3-1. Today, first strike is by the Reds. Nevin for Everton. Ablett. Nevin. Vandenhouw to Watson. Also, that's the first goal, by the way, that John Aldridge in his career has ever put past Neville Southall. He's been playing against him for quite some time. And he was saying this week it was a jinx. Well, it isn't now. And there goes Aldridge again. There goes Houghton. And Aldridge in another good position in the centre. And Watson will have to cut this out. Nevin. Oh, well played. Sharp and Cotty moving to the right. Nevin on Hansen, gets brought down. Joe Worrell puts out a warning hand towards Alan Hansen. Colin Harvey barking there from the bench, knowing how important it is to hit back quickly in positions like this. Dave Watson has gone forward for the kick. Ratcliffe is telling Vanden Hauwe where to put it. Sharp's in there as well. And so is Grobbelaar. Got a feeling when we look back on that goal again that Steve Nicol, the Footballer of the Year, may have supplied that telling ball which put McMahon through. Certainly split the Everton defence. Staunton. Now that was late. Graham Sharp is the offender on Steve Staunton, and Joe Worrell will want a word here. Frustration by the Scottish international. Just slightly left the foot in, but it probably wasn't quite as bad as it may have looked. Well, what do you make of it then, Trevor? I mean, Liverpool off to the perfect start there. Ronnie Moran has his own way of celebrating.
Well, Everton must be a bit shell-shocked because they did settle down very well, and now they find themselves 1-0 down. I mean, whichever side scored, you did feel this sort of match, which is usually so even, an early goal would set it up for a spectacle. Now, Everton do have to push forward. Pat Nevin settled down very well, though, hasn't he? He's the one to catch the eye from the Everton lineup at the moment.
Hansen. This is Nicol. And give them the chance to roll the ball around with the benefit of a one-goal lead. There's nobody more adept at that than Liverpool. I think the bench are a bit anxious about Steve Staunton after that injury. That Kenny Dalglish is standing up, as he normally does anyway, just looking across. I think they actually thought about getting Barry Venison ready, because Staunton felt the full impact of Graham Sharp's foot there. Although when Sharp launched himself into it, he was going for the ball. Houghton, offside Aldridge. This time he moved too soon. Barry Venison has gone to sit down again, but they'll obviously be monitoring Staunton's condition. Free kick. Sharp on Hansen. Actually, Sharp always feels he does quite well against Alan Hansen. Aldridge's header. Houghton. Sheedy chasing back. Everton get the decision. Aldridge. Well, he was hoping to find Beardsley, and he too was just a shade impetuous with the challenge on Stephen. Nobody holds back in Merseyside derbies, not even at Wembley. Ratcliffe. Stephen. Sharp. Stephen again. Sheedy's out on the left. In support, Vanden Hauwe. Bracewell. And now McDonald brought into play. Good touch, Nevin. Sharp and Cottee hovering in the centre near the penalty spot. Danger here, Cottee. Sheedy's in the middle as well now. McDonald. Sharp's up. And the back header by Nicol. This is Houghton. Liverpool do seem to feel they can get behind the Everton back four in the centre there, Trevor.
Everton's defensive tactics are always to play very flat along the back four, and they do rely on Kevin Ratcliffe, his speed to sort of recover in case the offside trap breaks down. But since coming back from the injury sort of halfway through the season, he's not quite had that electric pace, I think, that he used to have, and on that occasion when Steve McMahon broke for the goal, he wasn't able to get across, and it does leave them open to that long through ball.
This is Stephen. And again. Trevor Stephen back in the England picture now, named in the squad for the Rouse Cup. And he's forced a corner there, which will give Dave Watson the chance to come forward. Sheedy. Oh, Nevin in lots of space. Liverpool didn't close him down. Incidentally, the bookmakers got it right, because John Aldridge was the favourite to score the first goal here today, but this was an Everton attempt to cancel that out, and Pat Nevin had plenty of time to line this one up. Here's McDonald. Nevin. Sharp. And Sheedy to McDonald. Sharp's there again, so was Hansen. Bracewell was following up, Houghton got to him first. And Liverpool playing very much on their counter-attack, but how threatening they look when they break out. Barnes. Oh, and that's Aldridge again! From Barnes. Beautiful ball this by John Barnes. He curled it in menacingly. And Aldridge, who's been doing well with his head too recently, might have had his second.
You have to query the marking of the Everton defenders, because John Barnes looked up, had plenty of time, and really the Everton defence should have adjusted, but to give John Aldridge that sort of space, and it was only just a shade away from being 2-0, and you do feel if you go 2-0 up in this heat that the game is going to go away from Everton.
Don't suppose many people do tune in late to the FA Cup final, but for anybody that wasn't here at the start, Aldridge scored in the 4th minute to put Liverpool ahead. Perversely, having said that, Everton have had more of the play. Sharp. Watson's up there. Whelan trying to clear for Liverpool. He did. To McMahon. Barnes. McDonald. That's full-blooded stuff in there. Bracewell. Vanden Hauwe. Sheedy. Well spotted by Joe Worrell, and a free kick to Liverpool. "20 minutes gone in the FA Cup final. Liverpool 1, Everton 0. Staunton makes a long run from the back. Watson was stretching. Vanden Hauwe. Nevin. And Cotty's on this side as well. Moving in now. Stephen. That's aimed at Cotty. And Bruce Grobbelaar to John Barnes. Aldridge was ready to run through again there, but he had to check. This is McMahon. Now it's Nicol. Whelan, oh no. Well, this is World Cup weather, there's no doubt about that. Humid. And somewhere in the 80s down there on the pitch. McMahon. Barnes. Houghton's made a run inside, Aldridge also there. Beardsley. Ratcliffe bustled out of it. Nicol. Barnes. Staunton's coming to join him. Didn't need him. They do now. McMahon finds Whelan. This is the central fulcrum of the Liverpool team, but Everton are going to have to get to grips with this midfield. This is Nicol. Houghton on the right. And Barnes. But in one movement, Southall gets Everton away with Nevin. Everton's back four won't be particularly pleased with the way they've played in the opening 25 minutes. There's gaps in there, and Liverpool have found them. This is McDonald. It's really down to Ratcliffe, the captain, to sort that out. That's his pass. Sharp. Now Cottee. Offside flag was up anyway. Joe Worrell plays an advantage. Beardsley. Watson to McDonald. Bracewell. This is Ratcliffe. Everton taking the long way round here. Liverpool have pulled all their players back in their own half. It has to go long. Sheedy's in there though, so is Stephen, so is Sharp, and Nevin. And still, Stephen, Staunton.
Well, at the moment you mentioned Everton having more of the play, but Liverpool taking far less time to create the openings, and I think the build-up of Everton is too slow, too many passes. They've got to be quicker.
Perhaps Stephen can be here. Sharp. Sheedy wants it played left. Poor pass from Stephen, though.
In that front third of the field, there's just those little bit more invention and a bit more flair, isn't there, from Liverpool? Everton, slower build-up, and they go so far, and then they just break down that little bit of unexpectedness that Liverpool can have. Everton haven't got at the moment, and Liverpool, when they go forward, really at the moment, they've not had many attacks, but on each occasion, they've looked likely to score.
Liverpool, remember, have won 34 trophies in the past 25 years, and they could win 2 more this season. They're playing for the double. And Everton are here for the 4th time in 6 seasons in the FA Cup final, so there's plenty of pedigree down there. And this is Nevin for Everton. We've played 25 minutes. Liverpool lead by Aldridge's goal. McDonald. And now it's McMahon and Beardsley. Whelan. Barnes. Again, the ball bent in viciously by John Barnes. Free kick given against Nicol. Sharp with Hansen. There's no doubt who won that battle. Whelan. Seems to me now that Barnes is getting more and more of the ball. Staunton. Keeping it simple. Whelan. Tends to be the Liverpool way. McMahon. And now Nicol. There's always a man in a red shirt, it would seem, to receive the ball. 4 waiting in the middle at the moment. McMahon. Whelan. And he's got Barnes in. Oh, too far ahead of Aldridge in the 6-yard box. But John Barnes, in this last 5 or 6 minutes, Trevor, has suddenly become a very dangerous customer.
A great through ball from Ronnie Whelan, and the cross as well. What we didn't see was John Barnes go towards Ronnie Whelan in a sharp little 5-yard sprint, which took a couple of defenders, and then he checked and made the run, which Whelan found him inside the fullback. In fact, it was Pat Nevin who was called out in the end, and a little bit softer with the ball across the goal, and John Aldridge might well have had his 2nd goal. But again, in those situations, Liverpool opening up the Everton defence, whereas Everton in that same stage of the field unable to do so.
Just bear in mind Everton's first choice right back, Ian Snowden, unfit for this final. This is Sharp, but Van den Hauwe is fit on the other flank here. And Sharp's in there. And found room to get in a clean header, Graham Sharp. He's wearing the cycling shorts, Graham Sharp, to keep the warmth in there after a hernia operation, but I shouldn't think he's going to get cold today. Stifling down there. Barnes. John Barnes, discovered not very far from here a few years ago, playing for a local club, Sudbury Court, by Watford, for whom he played in the FA Cup final against Everton in '84 and was on the losing side, as he was last year against Wimbledon. Sharp's touch. Cotty's offside. He's found the £2 million price tag quite a burden on his own admission, Tony Cotty. He has scored 18 goals for Everton, but hasn't enjoyed the most consistent of first seasons at Goodison. But here's a man who's enjoyed a most consistent season, Aldridge. Beardsley. Houghton probing as always. Oh, Aldridge in again!
Well, again, twice Everton were caught so flat. First of all, the ball down the line to Aldridge, which was played back inside, and then here again, you see they hold the 18-yard box. See Ratcliffe just standing just on the 18-yard box. So when the through ball goes, they're caught so flat, and really John Aldridge, I think, so surprised to get the space, should have put it on target.
It was a lovely ball by Houghton, wasn't it, with the outside of his foot. Sheedy to Cotty. Whelan. We've got 15 minutes left in the first half in the FA Cup final. Liverpool lead Everton by 1-0. And at the moment look good value for it. Long ball by Gary Ablett. Everton have come from behind before in the FA Cup this season. Hasn't been the most painless of journeys to Wembley for them. And that's what they're being asked to do again today. Cotty is the player fouled. And maybe a chance here for Sheedy to conjure something. He's usually the main man at free kicks for Everton with his left foot. But this one's a good 25 yards out. Sharp and Watson are waiting. Far side. And that was Sheedy into the wall. MacDonald. Watson stays forward here with Sharp. And Stephen to Van den Hauwe. Everton have chances here. They've got plenty of players in. It's Bracewell. And Sharp's there, and so is the keeper.
There's Graham Sharp, and there's no doubt if they can get some quality crosses into him. He does have the ability to win the ball in the air. There he tried to head it back across the goal rather than go on target. But at the moment, the crosses are coming in from outside the penalty area and away from the touchline. If they can get to the touchline and whip them in, those are the situations where he could get on target.
McMahon. Aldridge has started to run again. Now MacDonald. Sharp, holding it up very well. Nevin. Cotty's in there, but Alan Hansen refuses to be ruffled. Barnes, and now Beardsley pulling away to the right. Still Barnes. Houghton's trying to stay onside in the middle, and Barnes goes alone, and Ratcliffe brings him down. John Barnes suddenly saw the goal in his sights and thought he would try and break between the two defenders. And he gets caught here by number 4, Ratcliffe. Oh, probably an understatement on my part. Free kick to Liverpool. Barnes having a long look at this.
Well, it was gentle applause there, but it wasn't that far away. He whipped it over the wall well, but at the moment, once again, Kevin Ratcliffe having to bring John Barnes down. John Barnes did it exceptionally well because Ray Houghton ran offside and he decided to go it alone when Everton played the offside trap and nearly got through.
Here he is again, and once more Aldridge is on his way. Oh, it's McDonald's mistake. Southall will have to come to meet Aldridge. That's a foul by Gary Ablett on Graham Sharp. Well, there are a series of free kicks now, and you just wonder if something's going to come from one of them. By this stage of the season, they're pretty well rehearsed. This is McDonald. Sharp's looking there. Watson didn't get the overhead kick in. In fact, he caught the Liverpool player Ablett instead, rather than the ball. He was going for the sort of overhead scissor kick, Dave Watson. Didn't mean to catch Gary Ablett, as I think we shall see from this. Again, it was well knocked in by Graham Sharp on the far side. So about 10 minutes left in the first half, and Liverpool still lead by 1-0. Scored as early as the 4th minute by Aldridge, who might have had another after that. Well, this is the weather that Wembley would like to expect in May, but it's very warm for the players. Vandenhouw. And Sharp, who's moved around intelligently, trying to keep Everton moving, giving them a few alternatives. Cotty's the man they're trying to find now, but he's not been in the game much so far, and offside. Again, it was a narrow decision. Linesman on the far side, Mike Peck, flagging against John Aldridge. Ratcliffe. Sharp. Hansen to McMahon. Forward by Houghton, but it's too long for Beardsley. Colin Harvey there, who played in Everton's 1966 Cup-winning team here against Sheffield Wednesday. They came back from 2 down that day, so there's hope here for them. They've somehow got to break up this assured Liverpool pattern. Whelan knowing exactly where Nicol would be. There goes Houghton, but it's going to be a corner to Liverpool. Played back for Whelan. Oh, and Houghton darting in again here. Away by Sharp. Nichols there. Point about the Footballer of the Year there, Steve Nicol, is that the last 4 winners of that trophy have all played on the losing side in the cup final. Neville Southall himself was one, Gary Lineker then the year after, then Clive Allen of Spurs and John Barnes last year. Wonder if Steve Nicol can reverse that trend. Nevin. Houghton. Do you detect any change in the pattern here at all, Trevor?
Well, I just think Liverpool at the moment have got a firm grip, getting more and more confident. I think what is helping their players well is the confidence and distribution from the back. Steve Nicol, Stevie Staunton and Alan Hansen, who, when you think he was out of the game for nearly a year, I think has been quite magnificent so far.
Here comes Van den Hauwe for Everton. To Sheedy. Bracewell. Sharp. The score in Scotland, by the way, at Hampden Park is 0-0 between the two Glasgow rivals. Rangers going for the treble and Celtic, last year's double winners. It's no score up there. A lot of English players, of course, taking part in that cup final. And a match of some interest to Kenny Dalglish, I would think, too. His former club and his old colleague Graham Souness, the manager of Rangers. Here at Wembley, it's 1-0 to Liverpool, with 5 minutes left in the first half. And the Everton supporters start to make themselves heard. Here's Beardsley, though. Foul by Trevor Steven on Peter Beardsley. Staunton, recovered from that early knock, it would seem. Looks for Aldridge. Offside. Steven. Nevin had quite a bright start on this wing, but he hasn't been in the game very much since. Number 7 here. Liverpool again making it very difficult for Everton to find a way of getting forward. The gaps are being closed by the midfield players. Whelan was in there and so was Barnes. In turn, Steven doing a similar job for Everton. That's where it's being fought out. It's crisp and close in there, the central midfield area. Bracewell, another one involved. Also, the Liverpool front men working hard to close down Everton in possession. Aldridge and Beardsley were both doing the job there. This is Nicol. Houghton. Beardsley. Oh, he's got away from Ratcliffe, but he drove him a bit wide. Sheedy's back. Goal kick. And I'm told that down on the touchline bench, the temperature has risen to 90 degrees. Just like Stephen with the through ball. I was going to say it's more like Guadalajara than Wembley in terms of the temperature and the weather we've got here. Nevin. Forward by McDonald. Grobbelaar's coming out to meet Sharp. And this could be interesting. Sheedy's in a good position. Sheedy, Hansen blocked, and Grobbelaar must have been relieved. Certainly Hansen let him know what he thought about that particular advance. It was a typical Grobbelaar excursion, that. Stephen. Nevin. A minute left in the first half. Watson for Everton, who are pressing now. Stephen. Well, Grobbelaar hadn't had too much to do. I don't know whether he was getting a little bored back there, but he went a long way and was out of his ground for a few dangerous moments. Coming up to the end of the first half here at Wembley. 1-0 to Liverpool. There's Aldridge, the goal scorer. Houghton. Barnes. And Sharp was back to cover Nicol. Vanden Hauwe. Cottee, a lone figure up front, being marked at the moment by Gary Ablett. But he slipped him and then had to watch as Liverpool covered in typical fashion. We're into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Houghton. And Watson had to do that. Aldridge was coming in on the blind side yet again. Everton having to play their way out of a bit of a corner. Ronnie Whelan intercepts. Nicol. Liverpool's football so measured and well manicured. And it's their kind of surface too. Houghton. McMahon has always the chance that Everton might be able to do something if Liverpool make that sort of mistake, but they haven't made many. Stephen. Nevin's now trying his luck in the inside left position. He's got Cottee over on that side as well. Nevin. And again Nicol. Hard man to pass, isn't he, Trevor?
Well, Pat Nevin skipped round Alan Hansen, but there's always somebody there, isn't there, plugging up any gaps. And at the moment, Everton playing across and in front of the Liverpool defence rather than behind them. And at the moment, Liverpool totally controlling the game.
And at half-time, it's the Liverpool supporters who've been through so much tribulation and stress recently, who are joyful and buoyant, because their team, thanks to John Aldridge's goal after just 4 minutes, lead in this all-Merseyside FA Cup final. And I wouldn't imagine you'd argue too much with that, Trevor.
Well, apart from those opening few minutes before, in fact, Liverpool got the goal, then really from then on they've got stronger and stronger. The Everton defence has really looked at sixes and sevens, very flat, and even when they're in possession of the ball, they've been just booting it sort of long balls and giving the ball away, whereas Liverpool look so composed, particularly Alan Hansen at the back, bringing it out from defence and keeping possession, and as the half has gone on, they have looked better and better.
So at half-time, it's the Reds in front against the Blues by 1-0. Liverpool, a team who've played to the gallery for most of the season, taking the field a goal up. There are two little omens, I suppose, for Everton. In the last Merseyside Cup final here, it was Everton who led 1-0 at half-time, and Liverpool came back and won 3-1. And I suppose you've also got to say that the last two finals have been won by the underdog, haven't they? Coventry and Wimbledon.
Well, you agree with what you say, but Liverpool dominated the first half so much. You just wonder now what Colin Harvey's, perhaps he's reorganised tactically. Certainly, as Jim said, they've got to get the extra width. Kevin Sheedy wide on the left here really has never been able to get in the game. Tony Coddy up front has had very few touches, and really the only slight chances or glimmers they've had is those crosses to Graham Sharp. But they do have to get to the byline to get those crosses in. If they hit them in from 50 or 60 yards out, then Bruce Grobbelaar is going to say thank you very much, or they're not going to be near enough for Graham Sharp to get on target.
Just thinking of the options open to Colin Harvey, his two substitutes are both midfield players, Ian Wilson and Stuart McCall. He doesn't have a striker down there. He gave the two lads the vote over Wayne Clark. But if Everton don't turn this round, I would imagine we'll see one or the other on the pitch, if not both. And again, in this heavy atmosphere, high temperatures, there'll be times when they try and slow it down, Liverpool in particular. Vanden Hauw. Nickel. Oh, Ratcliffe made another mistake. Beardsley. Ratcliffe had a long period out with injury. It happened in a cup tie against Sheffield Wednesday, and I just wonder whether he's quite as razor sharp as he used to be. Mind you, I'm talking in high standards, because he was probably the quickest player in Europe at that time in that position. Hansen with the kick. Barnes pulling away from Neil McDonald, the number 2, who dived in a bit there. That wasn't really a full-back's tackle. And Neil McDonald, rather than standing up and jockeying Barnes, dived in a bit and conceded a free kick in a dangerous position. Staunton and Barnes are the two players near the ball. Aldridge has got both arms up in the centre. Beardsley is with him. Away by Vanden Hauw, only as far as Steve McMahon. Nice ball to Houghton. Offside flag is up here.
I think Neil McDonald quite relieved to see nothing come of that free kick, because just going out of the picture there he is jogging along, but it was a irresponsible tackle really, because John Barnes running away from the goal, and I mean, he had to clatter him to get to the ball, which was still a couple of yards away.
Just a reminder that should Everton equalise, extra time is scheduled for today. And if there was a replay, it will be delayed until Thursday, June the 8th, nearly 3 weeks away. But Liverpool will try to make sure that isn't necessary. Ratcliffe. Whelan to McMahon. Hansen. Staunton's got Barnes to his left, but it's a bit optimistic. Steve Staunton, the youngest player on the pitch at 20, already a Republic of Ireland international, comes from a big family down there in Southern Ireland. Indeed, cup final day, one when families and friends, very heavily numbered in the crowd, relations of the players. Alan Hansen is on the ball now. He's making his 14th Wembley appearance for Liverpool today. Nicol. It's a good-looking ball. And it came off Watson, and Southall couldn't save it. It's a corner. Beardsley was the player who was hovering around, and Watson not too sure with that clearance. Again, the delivery in by Liverpool, tempting their strikers and taunting the Everton defenders. Nicol. Houghton. They're lined up in the centre there. Beardsley, Barnes, Aldridge. This is Hansen. Running off the ball now is Whelan. John Barnes. Staunton sprinting outside him. Aldridge with Ratcliffe. Aldridge looked at the referee. There was a loud shout from the Liverpool fans. Nothing given against Ratcliffe. Nevin has switched to the left. Oh, Everton in trouble here. It's Beardsley. Aldridge to his left, but Beardsley could go alone. Saved by Southall. Here comes Ray Houghton.
There was a classic example. I think there was a time Kevin Ratcliffe would have caught Peter Beardsley. And again, it was an example of Everton in possession themselves and not having the composure of like Stevie Nicol, Alan Hansen, and use the ball. They got themselves into trouble. There was about 3 Everton players within 5 yards of each other, and suddenly Liverpool had an attack.
Beardsley. And still Beardsley. Well, that's 2 opportunities in a minute for Beardsley. The first one, I think, some credit to Southall, because he did stand up well and block Beardsley's view of the goal. And I think that may be substantiated by what we're going to see here, because he was clear of the defender, Ratcliffe, but Southall good in 1-against-1s like that, save with his feet. So Liverpool close to making it 2-0, and you would feel that Everton would struggle to come back from 2. Question whether Liverpool can kill the game off now, or can Everton draw on some resources to pull things round. It'll take a lot of determination, and that's a free kick against John Barnes. Now Sharp and Cotty being joined by Watson. Everton need a bit of luck, perhaps a good bounce of the ball somewhere here, just to change the pattern of play. Sharp's there again, but he's doing some leaning.
But at the moment, Everton are just clinging to only being 1-0 down, and you feel, having given it a few minutes, that I know Everton substitutes to McCauley and Wilson have both been having a warm-up. I think an introduction of somebody new has to happen. You've got the option of Trevor Stephen, actually, who is playing centre midfield today, but he can play out wide or up front, because at the moment, Everton are just hanging on rather than looking like getting level.
Yes, the Everton midfield 4 are not winning the battle there at the moment. Bracewell's quiet, Sheedy's offside here. Sheedy's not been too effective. Nevin's played in bursts. So Colin Harvey may be thinking now of taking one of them off. Terry Darricott next to the Everton boss there. Stephen. Van den Hauwe. Delivery from the back, as you said earlier, Trevor. Nothing like the quality of Liverpool's, is it?
No, that was the classic example. I mean, he had plenty of time, under no pressure. A Liverpool defender in those situations would have carried the ball, committed one of the defenders, and put a quality cross in.
Just wonder whether Liverpool's only danger here might be getting a little too casual, a little too complacent. Hansen certainly was on the ball then. All too often in football we've seen teams apparently dominating games and then conceding a goal. It might happen with Stephen. Staunton, a good recovery. McMahon. Oh, that's a good bit of play by Aldridge. He was unceremoniously dealt with by Watson, but play goes on. Houghton has the advantage. Players right and left for him, but he doesn't find Barnes. The Everton fans feeling that they've had a good 5 minutes, certainly by comparison with what went before, suggesting that the game is not over by any means. And there goes Cottee. As he showed in the CMOD Cup final, Tony Cottee only needs a half chance. So far he's been denied that today. Barnes, that's a good ball to Whelan. And now Beardsley. Determination, McMahon. Full of it. The ball was out. Kenny Dalglish making his feelings clear. 10 minutes gone in the second half of the FA Cup final. Liverpool 1, Everton 0. But an interesting and important part of the game, this. Everton have got into the Liverpool half more in the last few minutes. Is there anything on the end of it? Sheedy. Or will Liverpool counter, as they have so often, and open the play up at the other end? Nicol takes on Van den Hauwe. First one way, then the other. 3 to his left. Not a good ball, and Everton themselves can break. And Nevin wanted to play that through, and he has to Cottee. McDonald, now Cottee again. Bit of space for him. Sharp in the middle, so is Nevin. McDonald's ball in, Houghton's header out. McMahon. Barnes. Now can he pick up pace? He's got Aldridge and Beardsley to his right. Watson to take on. Still Barnes, and he has taken him on.
Well, not much more we could say, was there? I think it was all there to watch. Once he gets in those situations, pick the ball up just on the halfway line, and he beats people so well to create the shooting opportunity. Here he is on his left foot, just dragged it past the post.
And now it's Everton with Sheedy. This is Nevin. Sharp tries to get there. This is Van den Hauwe. In again for Stephen. There's going to be an Everton substitution. Stuart McCall, expensive signing from Bradford City last summer. Scored the winner against Wimbledon in one of our live Match of the Day Cup ties. Good header by Aldridge to Beardsley. Now Beardsley takes on Watson, and that's a good challenge by the defender, but it's a bad pass by Ratcliffe. And it's Aldridge now to McMahon. Barnes. Got a feeling that Bracewell's the player who's going to come off. But Joe Worrell allows the play to go on. Staunton to Whelan. Ablett. Well, there have been chances here for Liverpool to kill the game off early in the second half. As yet, they haven't succeeded. That's a foul by Ratcliffe on Beardsley. Now the substitution can be made. Off goes Paul Bracewell. Had a hard time in that midfield. And McCall gets a big welcome from the Evertonians. Be keen to see how he fares against McMahon in there. Here's Houghton. Stephen. Won again by Houghton. Whelan to McMahon. Barnes has made a through run. Watson's there. McCall is wearing number 14. Nevin looks for Stephen. Staunton, nice and tidy. Houghton leaves it to the captain. Now it's Beardsley. Aldridge coming close. McCall's gone straight into Bracewell's midfield position. This is Sheedy. Oh, good touch by Sharp to Cotty. Now there's a chance, perhaps. Free kick's given. McMahon and Hansen closed in on Cotty. And the referee said foul. Now then, here is a glimmer of hope for Everton. Sheedy, who has in the past scored many times from here. It's pretty central. Grobbelaar checking on the wall. That Grobbelaar's a couple of yards off his line. Sheedy into the wall. Good blocking by Liverpool. It isn't away yet. McDonald. Vanden Hauwe. Little spell here for Everton. 15 minutes gone in the second half. Possibly their best spell. Ratcliffe. Watson's hovering on the edge of the area. He's stayed up. Nevin. And still Watson stays in the danger area. Vanden Hauwe. Didn't get the ball in, though. Houghton blocked and Nicol covered. Any thoughts on that substitution, Trevor?
Well, Stuart McCall, who already signed for Bradford City, there he is. He will make more attacking situations. Hasn't been able to settle down after sort of a lot of money paid for him, 850,000. Not really shown the true form that he had at Bradford City, but he could make himself an instant hero today, couldn't he?
Well, not with a pass like that, he won't. This is Houghton. Aldridge has gone to the right and Barnes has gone to the left. Beardsley. And still Beardsley. And that was McCall. As you say, a busy performer. Got in there where it mattered. Sheedy. And that long ball by Ratcliffe is seeking out Nevin, but won't find him. It's a hard slog up there for Sharp and Cotty. There hasn't been a lot of opportunity, but Gary Ablett had to save Liverpool there. And maybe the chance is going to come for Everton. Trevor Stephen has gone across with Sheedy this time. Sharp and Watson are waiting. Sheedy, Grobbelaar, and a very confident piece of play there by Peter Beardsley, who just knocked the ball back into Steve McMahon's path to clear. It remains 1-0 to Liverpool, but not quite as conclusive as it looked a few minutes ago. I understand that 17 Wembley finals have ended 1-0 in the FA Cup. Most popular score in the history of the FA Cup since it came here in 1923. And here's Cotty. Free kick. Backing in. Having said that, Everton did draw 1-1 at Anfield when the teams met earlier in the season. And Joe Worrell, the referee, will remember that because he awarded Everton a penalty that day. Sharp. Good header against Hansen, that. McCall. Sheedy. And Sharp with Grobbelaar, and another one-handed acrobatic leap by Grobbelaar, which this time finished the way he wanted it to. Dave Watson putting everything into it back there, trying to hold the fort and also urge Everton forward whenever he can. And another Hansen header goes astray. Good tackle by Staunton on Nevin. This is Barnes. And Barnes begins to pick up pace away from Nevin. He's got McDonald to beat as well, though, and there's not much on for him, though. He has to come all the way back and find Staunton. Into Whelan. I think the heat beginning to restrict the number of those darting runs that Liverpool like to make off the ball. This is Nicol. Foul. Hansen on Cottee. 20 minutes gone in the second half at Wembley. Liverpool 1, Everton 0. That's been the way of it since the 4th minute, when John Aldridge scored. But the Everton supporters have not given up hope, and neither has the team. Vanden Hauwe. Again, they look for Sharp. Cottee's in! Good interception, Hansen. In fact, Nevin was in there too. Just wonder if one or two of the Liverpool forward players might be tiring a bit. Ian Rush has been warming up. It isn't bad when you can bring on a man who costs nearly £3 million, is it? This is Houghton. I would think Kenny Dalglish might appreciate a fresh approach up there. Injection of pace. Whelan. Nicol. Barnes. Steve Nicol sufficiently self-assured to get away with that. And Staunton on the other flank with room in which to work. Nicol again. McMahon. This is Whelan. Barnes. And Houghton's closing in here. Just a leg out from Vanden Hauwe. Still Houghton. Couldn't pull it back for Barnes. Whelan. Nicol. Good ball for Beardsley, and still, and it wouldn't run for Barnes. Southall doing enough. Brilliantly hooked back by McMahon, mind you. Whelan. Liverpool supporters urging them forward. Again, Beardsley threatening to unlock the Everton defence. Nicol. Sheedy right back there to help. Now it's Ratcliffe. In fact, both the Liverpool substitutes are warming up. And in this heat, it's going to be, I would think, very much a 13-man game. This is McCall. Sheedy. Ablett with Sharp here. And Sharp's knockback was good, but Trevor Steven a whisker away from it. Linesman happy that Staunton kept that in. This is Watson. And Ablett, well taken. Game possibly a little bit bogged down at the moment, Trevor.
Well, Liverpool created that opening just now, which lulled them out of, what, a 10-minute spell when they became casual more than anything, whether it was the sun or just a little bit of complacency. And then perhaps the sight of two substitutes warming up stemmed them into another little burst of attacking. But, you know, while it's 1-0, Everton, just that little break, can always get back into the game. And up to now, Liverpool should be more than that 1 goal ahead, but it is still very sort of tightly balanced, and one little mistake could cost them dear.
Yes, many is the Merseyside derby that's finished in a draw. Barnes' header to Aldridge. The teams drew here in the League Cup final a few years ago, in their first ever all-Merseyside Wembley meeting. Here's Hansen, one of the survivors of that. Well played. Nicol. In again to Houghton, who's always threatening. Barnes is a long way away on the left, but he's the freest player. Well found. Brings Southall down to the near post. Good distribution by Ray Houghton there, and John Aldridge waiting on the 6-yard line. Liverpool don't put many players in there for corners. Prefer to play it short and pick up the passing game again. Barnes. Houghton. Offside, Barnes. Now, Houghton delivered that quite beautifully, and Barnes was perfectly ready here with his left foot. It was slightly deflected off the defender anyway, which made it an even better save. McMahon, Stephen. He's promising. So's this, Vanden Hauwe. Houghton couldn't get a tackle in. It's Vanden Hauwe again. Nevin's there now. Stephen had a shot. It was blocked by Ablett. Here's McCall. And now McDonald. And McMahon. Liverpool are being pushed back a bit, Trevor.
They're being pushed back, but the quality of the crosses has been poor. I mean, both fullbacks, Pat Vanden Hauwe and Neil McDonald, have had 3 or 4 occasions in the last 3 or 4 minutes when if they'd have put a good quality cross in, Liverpool might have been in trouble, but it's been cut out halfway across, and unless they get the quality balls in. Kenny Dalglish here, obviously deciding Liverpool do need a G-up.
Yes, the goal scorer is going off. John Aldridge applauded. Going off this year in rather different circumstances to last time round against Wimbledon, because this time his team are a goal up. And a big reception for the fellow who scored 2 goals in this Merseyside FA Cup final 3 years ago. Kenny Dalglish congratulates his goal scorer today, but Ian Rush back from Juventus and now back at Wembley. It's got about 18 minutes, unless there's extra time, of course, which is what Everton are trying to achieve. Sharp. Now, the pace of Rush may trouble Watson and Ratcliffe. This is Barnes. Ratcliffe was covering behind Watson, who intercepted. He saw Rush make his run. Old adversaries, of course. Sharp. Tricks Ablett. Cover from Whelan. Goal kick. What about Ian Rush then, Trevor?
Well, as you say, he's not a bad substitute to bring on, is he? But, I mean, I think he will admit, what with illness and injury, he's never as yet recaptured the form of when he departed to Juventus, and I'm sure nothing more he'd love than just get on the score sheet. We remember that 1986 Cup final when he scored 2 against Everton, and who knows what he'll do in the next quarter of an hour.
This is McMahon. You can see Kenny Dalglish, hands in pockets, patrolling anxiously along that touchline area, or not touchline, but where the bench is. As he realises that Liverpool still need the second goal to lock this cup final up. This is Whelan, Houghton. They wouldn't particularly want to go to extra time. 2 league matches still to come in their quest for the championship. Staunton. And that wasn't very decisive. This is Nevin. The chance is still here for Everton. McCall. Stephen lost his boot in that melee, but this is Gary Ablett, and he needs to be careful here with Crotty. Good pass. Houghton. Now Rush has made a run right to left, and there he goes, but McDonald saw him coming. .15 minutes to go in the second half. Liverpool 1, Everton 0. They used to say Liverpool comes strong in the last 15 minutes of a game. Well, it's Everton who must achieve that today to force extra time. Neil McDonald was injured there, Trevor, in that challenge on Ian Rush.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if he gets up okay, because I've got a feeling Kevin Sheedy, who was doubtful earlier in the week, might well be replaced by Ian Wilson. Ian Wilson is wide left midfield player. He scored in the last league game on Monday night, and I think with the weather as it is, it's well worth bringing on the extra pair of fresh legs in this last quarter now. They need a lift, as Colin Harvey is suggesting on the bench there, and I would think Kevin Sheedy would be the one to come off, but of course he's also very aware that right back Neil McDonald has just taken a knock, so wait a couple of minutes, see what happens there before perhaps bringing Ian Wilson on for Sheedy. Nevin, back to McDonald in fact. Now McMahon doing some defensive duty. Ian Rush there is still tied with Dixie Dean on the 19 goals in Merseyside derbies. Once scored 4, I remember, against Everton in one match, Ian Rush. But he wants 1 just to pip Dixie, which would make him something of a legend on Merseyside, as his predecessor was. There's Gary Ablett. And this time it's a foul against Rush, and Dave Watson will appreciate the chance to go forward. But Everton are going to make their second substitution. Trevor Brooking absolutely spot on. Kevin Sheedy is the player going off. And we have a Wembley first here. Ian Wilson, the former Leicester player, has never played here before. Wearing 12. Nevin. Staunton. The crowd appealed. Referee wasn't interested. Barnes trying to win it back for Liverpool, and he didn't quite make that. And all the red shirts have had to come back. Everton are pressing forward again. Aiming at Watson, who might be spending more and more time up there now. Nickel for Liverpool. Vanden Hauwe just had a little nip at Nickel there as the ball went away. Linesman saw it, actually. Joe Worrell hasn't had to deal with too much in the way of untoward tackling. And he's just giving it the calm down to Pat Vanden Hauwe. Got about 12 minutes to go here in the second half anyway. Everton hoping to force extra time.
on a tiring afternoon in temperature still in the 80s. And driven forward by Nicol, but it'll only be a present really to Dave Watson. Rush wasn't right up there. Now Sharp can win that. Only as far as Ablett. Whelan, good pass. Houghton. Wondering where Barnes was, but he was a bit too close. This is Staunton. Understand the official crowd figure will be given as 82,800. Possibly means a few of the boxes are not full. Certainly all the fans' tickets were snapped up. The fan who likes to stand or sit in the usual seats. This is Barnes. Oh, Houghton was not able to get the touch that mattered there. McMahon again, full of industry still. Good touch by Beardsley. McMahon's work rate is quite prolific. Houghton to Rush, cut out by Ratcliffe.
Great run by Ian Rush there. If it a bit harder and he had again broken the offside trap of Everton, and they'd have been skinned.
Houghton again. I've got to say that Houghton's played awfully well for Liverpool. One of the players who's really caught the eye today. Former West Ham, Fulham and Oxford player. Now McCall finds Sharp, but this match is not over yet. Everton have still got opportunity. Especially if Liverpool show signs of tiring. We're into the last 10 minutes, mind you. This is Stephen. McCall. And it might work for Sharp.
Well, one of the few occasions when Everton midfield player has played a positive forward ball, and there he is, clipped it through, and Graham Sharp, not realising perhaps he had quite that space, and perhaps a flicked header towards the far post might have been better, but Bruce Grobbelaar, as usual, looking very casual, it came towards him.
Liverpool, who beat Everton 3-1 in the final here in 1986 when they completed the double, lead their Merseyside rivals 1-0 here today as they attempt the first leg of the double. Fans see it coming a little bit closer with about 8 minutes to go. Stephen, chances here, McCall's there, and Grobbelaar wasn't sure, and it was Ian Wilson who got closest to the loose ball. The two subs were both involved in there. Grobbelaar had an escape, not for the first time, offside.
Just shows you the difference by getting the cross in from the byline makes, because it's whipped in, comes from that different angle, and it caused all sorts of problems for the defence. That's the first time so far they've managed to get to the byline.
And it was Stephen, really, wasn't it? Watson's up there with Sharp. That was Watson. And Liverpool has stretched. It's Van den Hauwe. Back in again. Sharp's up there. Danger. Nevin! If he'd made contact there, it would possibly have been 1-1.
I think that's what you call handbags from 7 yards, yeah. This was the earlier cross. Trevor Stephen whips it in, and The hand going up from Stuart McCall just put Bruce Grobbelaar off, but it was a very good quality cross.
Well, these are anxious moments for Liverpool. They're holding their lead, but there are signs that Everton are going to come with quite a storming rush in the last few minutes. Colin Harvey would expect that at the very least. Liverpool have their own rush at the other end, but he hasn't got into the game yet. Barnes. Well played by Ian Wilson. Neat. Sharp to McCall. And now it's Nevin. McCall makes a run left to right. Stephen. McDonald. Hansen with the header out, but Liverpool haven't got an outlet there. They've pulled everybody too far back. Van den Hauwe lofted in again. Sharp is there again. Oof. I don't quite know whether Grobbelaar called or not, but Hansen certainly didn't seem to hear him. And it's Rush. And Beardsley, who's been out the game for a long time. But he gets Rush away here. Can Ratcliffe catch him? Well, I think Rush caught Ratcliffe in the other sense. Welsh teammates, but no love lost there with 5 minutes to go in a cup final. And the fans sitting quite safely around the track here. Everton will know now they haven't got long. In fact, they've got less than 5 minutes to force extra time. And it's Watson for them to Stephen, who's never stopped working. He's foraged all the time, Trevor Stephen. Nevin. And Watson comes forward. And Ablett was there, but how long for? Wilson. Steve Nicol will be very happy about that.
He's had an excellent match, Steve Nicol. Great season. Not surprisingly, Football Writers Player of the Season, and he's puffing a bit there, but he's made as many runs as anyone on this pitch, and if he needs to do an overlap down the right, he'll just look as fresh now as he did in the opening couple of minutes.
The fans are aware that Liverpool are within 4 minutes of the first leg of the double. This is Nevin for Everton, who are giving it their best shots. Watson. Oh, it's a mistake, and it's Beardsley. Now McMahon has made a run to his left and rushes through the centre. Still McMahon waiting for support. Beardsley. Now Barnes is coming up. Staunton. Oh, Liverpool are in parts looking a little bit weary now. They made a hard work of keeping the ball there. And they're quite happy to send it back to goalkeeper Grobbelaar. John Aldridge. And Kenny Dalglish unable to affect it much from there. And Everton haven't given up hope. Nevin looks for Cottee. Sharp's in the middle, and so is Big Dave Watson, now playing as a full-time forward. Nevin again. And still it's Nevin. Appeals for handball, referee says play on. Nevin again. Watson wants it long. He's got past Staunton. Sharp's there, so is Nicol. It's an Everton corner with 2 minutes to go. Now can Watson or Sharp get on the end of this? Sharp's flick. They appeal for handball again, but it's a corner again. They're feeding it in. Ian Wilson talking to Joe Worrell. All he'll get is a corner. They're feeding it into the near post where Liverpool don't like it. Sharp's the player to flick it on. Watson's coming in behind him. McDonald is also there. Wilson, no. Behind him was Staunton. Stephen, and still Watson stays up. And that's not the sort of ball, that's the sort of ball Phil Thompson wanted, and Kenny Dalglish, but not what Everton would have expected from that position, and it's very tense down there. We make it about a minute of normal time, and here we have an intrusion that we don't need. And the players doing their best to rid us of that offender. Well, Liverpool were holding their breath a bit there. Grobbelaar has a chance now to clear the lines. Everton have certainly had the better of the last half hour, as you would expect for a team who've been a goal down for so long. Watson heads it forward to Cottee. Sharp. Chances here. Nevin. And outside him a chance too. And Grobbelaar. And it's got in. Steve McCall was in there. And Everton have equalised, and there are people on the pitch. And it came with seconds left of the 90 minutes. And the stewards have got a full-time job on now. Grobbelaar thought he had that, and Steve McCall, the substitute, scores the goal. Stuart McCall scores the goal. That brings Everton level and almost certainly forces extra time. It couldn't have come any closer to the end. Liverpool had one hand on the cup, and it looks like another half hour. And there goes Beardsley.
That was quite amazing, wasn't it? They paid the penalty, Liverpool, just sitting back these last 20 minutes, holding on to that 1-0 lead. Good run by Pat Nevin. Davy Watson it was who crossed it, and Stuart McCall pounced on the slip-up.
And there it is. It's extra time in the All-Merseyside Cup final. And Stuart McCall scores in the dying seconds for Everton. A quite extraordinary finish to the 90 minutes. Liverpool looked as though they were going to hang on, but Everton caught them in the last attack. So, the excitement shared in the Royal Box, and the Everton fans delirious. Now, just what that might have done for Liverpool's season, I don't know. They've begun to look rather tired. Dave Watson fired it in. Grobbelaar got a hand to it. And McCall was the player who scored. And they can't believe it down there. Kenny Dalglish has got some work to do now that he never thought was going to be necessary. Liverpool, the last thing they wanted was another half hour, with league games still to come, and Everton, who looked out of it at one point, earned the reward for a sterling recovery in the second half. Just look at that now. Blue and white all over Wembley. I'm trying to think of a Wembley goal in a cup final that came as late as that. You look back to that Alan Sunderland winner, don't you, for Arsenal against Manchester United. But this one has forced extra time. Here's Whelan. Nicol. McCall, the goal scorer. Cottee. Here's Nevin. Now, is the psychological balance now with Everton? Cottee. Oof, maybe it is. Well, McCall's goal-scoring record since he came to Goodison has been very, very poor. In fact, the one we saw against Wimbledon was only his second goal for the club. But he'll remember the one he's got today even longer than that. Only his third for Everton. Here's Cottee again. MacDonald. This is Wilson. Vandenhouw. MacDonald again. Offside flags up.
And not surprisingly, it's Everton who have got their tails up a little bit. Very difficult side like Liverpool when you've had most of the game for an hour and then you've sat left a little bit holding on to your 1-0 lead, conceded a late equaliser. To regain the initiative is very, very difficult.
Well, that's what Liverpool have got to strive to do. That's Ian Rush up there, Houghton. Whelan's to his left, it's still Houghton. Bit of fun from Southall. Well, the cup was up there waiting to be presented when McCall stepped in for Everton. Here's Nicol. And there goes Rush. Dave Watson now back in his defensive position, having spent a lot of time in attack as Everton fought to save the game. In fact, it was his cross that brought the goal. Forward by Venison, then a touch by Houghton. This is Whelan, Beardsley, Rush, Barnes. Got to start all over again now, really, Liverpool. Nicol. That comes off MacDonald. Well, our watch said 44 minutes, 57 seconds when that goal went in. Couldn't have been closer. Oh, there's Rush in there. Rush! Goal! Ian Rush! Liverpool back in front. Five minutes into extra time. And Ian Rush, scorer of 2 against Everton here 3 years ago, swivels on that, shakes off Ratcliffe and beats Southall. A typical Rush effort, and it's come at a timely moment for Liverpool.
Great piece of opportunism, but you have to say again that he was very loosely marked. Great ball in again from Steve Nicol. Doesn't matter if he's playing on the right or the left, he can still clip those telling passes into the penalty area.
I think it was Desmond Lynam who forecast a 2-2 draw here today, and that's what Everton will be chasing now. It's 2-1 to Liverpool, and their fans are celebrating. So Colin Harvey's team enjoyed parity for no more than 5 minutes in playing time. Rush's first goal since the beginning of February, that. Here he is again. Barnes. Rush. Offside, Barnes. Steve Nicol has made both Liverpool's goals with passes of the highest quality. Put McMahon through so that Aldridge could get the first, and then supplied the ball from the left for Rush to get the second. Here's Van den Hauw. And there's Hansen. Well, there were many who felt an absorbing, exciting final would do a lot to restore the spirits. And certainly the way it turned round there, that's what we've now got on our hands. It would have been a little bit of an anticlimax, perhaps, looking back, had Liverpool won 1-0 with a goal scored so early. But now it's 2-1, and we're 7 minutes into extra time. Liverpool fans singing again. Barnes. Nevin. Stephen. Van den Hauw. Forward by Ratcliffe. Sharp. Danger here for Cottee. Venison was back. Fresh player. Well, a lot's been said about the resilience and the spirit and the morale of Liverpool. The City, of course, as well as the team in recent times, but the team, having been denied the cup in such agonising circumstances, have now turned the game round again. Long kick by Grobbelaar, and here's Beardsley and Rush chasing. And they're happy once more. Barnes, all good running from midfield by Ray Houghton. Oh, they just about got him in the other side of Ratcliffe. And he's still got it. Now he wants support in the middle. Or coming up perhaps from Venison. Not a good ball by him. McMahon. Venison came on for Staunton just to confirm that substitution. In fact, all 4 subs used now. Now, will Liverpool be able to contain the lead this time? Or can Everton drag those weary feet towards a second equaliser? Ten minutes of extra time played. Stephen. Oh, he's going to be a bit tight there against Beardsley, but Stephen's had an excellent match. Van den Hauw. McCall. Oh, what a brilliant run by McCall! Picked off his toe by Ray Houghton. Four minutes left in the first period of extra time. Liverpool 2, Everton 1. And the balance of power back with Steve McMahon's team. Push, Ablett on Sharp. Well, Colin Harvey's seen his team save this match once in what would have had to have been their was the last attack of the 90 minutes, but then go behind again almost as soon as extra time started. Ratcliffe. Watson's up. Here's McCall again. Oh, yes! It's 2-2. And it's the same player. Stuart McCall. Dropping it wide of Grobbelaar for the second equaliser. Headed out first of all, but look how McCall got that down, and the perfect volley with the right foot, Trevor.
Well, he's not having a bad afternoon, is he, since coming on? Alan Hansen heads it out, it drops and loops in. Bruce Grobbelaar never quite going to get there. And again, we're all 2-2, and who knows what the remainder of this extra time is going to bring forth.
We've also had, unfortunately, only in celebration, I ought to say, Everton supporters on the pitch after both their goals, which is not what Wembley wants to see. And the stewards have got, again, or did have, quite a lot of work to do. That's one of the penalties, I'm afraid, of taking the fences down. And the point has to be made, even in a mood of jubilation, which is what Everton were enjoying at that moment. This is Sharp. And now Trevor Stephen. Wide to McDonald. Well, this morning, Stuart McCall wasn't even sure he would be in the 13. There were suggestions that Wayne Clark might be on the bench. He'd only ever scored 2 goals for the club before today. And now he's twice revived his team in this FA Cup final. Houghton. Whelan. McMahon. Barnes. Rush! Goal! 3-2 Liverpool. Ian Rush gets his second. And this now becomes one of the most dramatic FA Cup finals of recent times. Beautiful ball by Barnes, deftest of headers by Rush, steered it wide of Southall, and Rush repeats his feat of 3 years ago.
Wonderful John Barnes cross, a great Ian Rush header, but goodness me, the marking again. Ian Rush got between Kevin Ratcliffe at the far post, David Watson at the near post, and it's gone in between the two of them, and unmarked Ian Rush has got his second goal. Same as last time, of course, in 1986 when he got 2. I think Craig Johnson was the other scorer.
You're quite right, and Ian Rush has now, more than that, beaten Dixie Dean's great old record. He's now got 21 goals in Merseyside derby matches. But here are Everton again. Stevens ploughing forward. Well, will this go down as one of the classics? As Trevor says, the goals are being scored partly because of, by these two teams' high standards, sloppy defensive play to an extent, but the drama is unabated. Ian Rush here, scoring the kind of goal which one came to expect of him, in the right place. Doesn't get as many with his head as he would with his feet, but always on the prowl, and John Barnes, the perfect delivery. He was between the two defenders, and Southall was wrong-footed. So Ian Rush goes down in Merseyside folklore, and Evertonians will say that to beat the record of Dixie Dean is an achievement in itself. But what it means for those supporters is that Liverpool in this cup final have now been in the lead 3 times. Twice they've been pulled back. Can they hold it now for 15 minutes? John Aldridge bites his nails. He scored the first goal, and it's funny, isn't it? He was a few seconds away from becoming the man whose goal won the FA Cup, and now he won't have that privilege. It may go to his look-alike Ian Rush. Extraordinary scenes, extraordinary turnaround in the match. Fans shouting, attack, attack, attack. Not sure how much Kenny Dalglish will go along with that, because they've been caught out twice. Vanden Hauwe, Sharp coming in. Vanden Hauwe again. Out by Ablett. And this is Nicol. Well, there's going to be some tired limbs out there in the second period of extra time. Here's Rush again, who of course now is on a hat-trick, and we haven't had one of those in the FA Cup final since Stan Mortenson's days. Here's Houghton. In fact, McCall's on a hat-trick as well, so either one of them could record that first 3-goal achievement in an FA Cup final since 1953. Rushy is back is the shout. Well, if ever Liverpool needed Aldridge and Rush, today was the day. Aldridge's goal threatened to win it. Rush's goals might still. Sharp. But not if Everton have their way, because don't rule out a third equaliser. Must be agony down there on the bench for both sets of coaches, really. Wilson. Doesn't it say a tremendous amount again, though, about the powers of recovery that have been part of the Liverpool tradition for 25 years? They just never know when they're beaten. And several generations of Liverpool players have been responsible for that thread which has run through the club down the years. This is Barnes. But there again, we could say the same about Everton today, because they're the team that have technically come from behind twice. It's just that Liverpool, psychologically, have lifted themselves each time to go back in front. It's been a very emotional time, and it's now become that sort of match. Beardsley. And the shirt-sleeve fans enjoying it rather more than Kenny Dalglish, I suspect. A lot hinges on that for him. Nickel. Well, we've said how hot it must be down there. Just look at Kenny Dalglish. He hasn't taken that jacket off. Must be sweltering in the full tracksuit. Here's Hansen. Oh, good touch. It was Beardsley to Barnes. Now it's Rush again. And here's Houghton with a chance for 4-2. What a good stop by Neville Southall. He kept his team in the game there for sure from Ray Houghton. Well, this would have killed Everton off for sure. And Southall saves with his feet. Barry Venison, McCall. Five minutes gone in the second period of extra time. Liverpool lead Everton by 3-2 after the score was 1-1 at 90 minutes. Here's Stephen, Wilson. What a credit the game has become, though, to Merseyside and to football in general. And there's the drive from Sharp. And you could still see more goals coming, Trevor.
I think you could. Probably thinking at the end of 90 minutes, what, with a minute to go and Liverpool 1-0 up. I bet there's a few people who thought, I'll just miss this rush at the end of the game and I'll shoot off early. I'm going to think they're going to be in for a nasty shock, aren't they, John?
Absolutely. Sometimes happens, doesn't it? You think it's all over, and football being the perverse game it is and the wonderful game it is, can always surprise you. But it was the sort of match we needed in a way, wasn't it? Full now of twists and turns, when for so long it had looked, not a formality exactly, but reasonably predictable for Liverpool. Here's Beardsley. McMahon. Whelan. The families too who came today to test whether they could face football again will, I'm sure, be able to enjoy this, and that's most important. Well, I daren't rule Everton out. We're well into the second period of extra time. I don't remember a 3-3 draw in an FA Cup final at Wembley, but for what we've seen today, anything's possible. The news from Scotland, by the way, amidst all the excitement here, is that Rangers have not completed the treble. Celtic have won the Scottish Cup 1-0. Goal scorer Joe Miller. So here's McCall. Stephen! Kenny Dalglish's old club have won the cup in Scotland. Can Colin Harvey prevent him from completing an unusual double here in England? What do you think, Trevor?
Well, I'm loath to suggest anything because as soon as I do, a goal will go in, John. But I think you've got to favour Liverpool at this late stage. Dave Watson was pushed up in the last few minutes, wasn't he? Those 90 minutes that made a difference.
There goes Rush, and Southall's made a long run out, and it has to be proved the right decision. Barnes. Now Liverpool are creating gaps because Everton have to push on, throw players forward, and it could easily finish 4-2 as well as 3-3. Rush. Now it's opening up again for Liverpool. It's Beardsley with Barnes to his left. Barnes takes on McDonald. Good tackle. Nevin. Nicol. Well, play on, says Joe Worrell. He thinks Steve Nicol played for that, and I happen to think the referee's right. Trevor Steven was going about his business, and Nicol made it look as though he'd blocked him. Cotty, McCall. Rush to Beardsley. And still Beardsley. Corner. I think Peter Beardsley felt he might have released that on second thoughts. He acknowledged it to John Barnes. Well, 5 minutes now of extra time left. If Everton were to make it 3-3, we'd have a replay on the 8th of June. If Liverpool can make it 4-2, then it will be over. Just look at the view they've got there. Barnes. Venison. McMahon. What a good match he's had. Rush is waiting in the middle. Stephen. Rush and McCall will take the headlines possibly, Trevor, but there's been some good midfield play, hasn't there? Trevor Steven, Ray Houghton, Steve McMahon.
I think there's a lot of good individual performances. Not one outstanding player. Everyone's contributed at different stages of the match, and it'd be, I think, wrong to single out too many individuals because it's been a great match.
Well, that was what was required today to give football the lift that it badly needs just at the moment. And indeed to raise the spirits of many of those watching. Here in extra time, it's been like one of those old-fashioned matches of 20 or 30 years ago when defences opened up and goals came aplenty, rather than the more sterile 1-0s that we see perhaps more recently. Now, can John Barnes add to that total? He's kept the ball in, he's got Rush in the middle. Still Barnes. And Southall makes the save, as he's made several. Barnes deprived there. Venison. Rush. It can still work for Barnes here. Ratcliffe in the way. Beardsley! Good save! He touched that. Well, in my view, he did anyway. And it would appear Joe Worrell goes along with that. Barnes short to Nicol, and the atmosphere in the stadium is one to behold at the moment. More of that in a second. Nicol. Flags up on this side for offside against Rush, I think. The referee's given a corner because he hasn't seen the linesman. There's going to be an offside here. There are people having come in the most orderly fashion, I must say, right down to the area behind the stewards. We hope there won't be a pitch invasion, even though it would be a jubilant one. But that might be tempting fate a little, because there are so many fans who've moved down, and Wembley's going to need all the stewards it's got to keep the pitch clear. Everton haven't given up, though. Sharp. And again Sharp. Watson's up there. Gather there are 1,200 stewards on duty here today. This is Nicol. And have Everton at last been put into the position of runners-up? Has Kenny Dalglish's team finally laid their hands on the FA Cup? Yes, they have. Or have they? The crowd thought it was the final whistle. Joe Worrell did point to the centre, but I think he's about 30 seconds early, and I don't think that is the end of the game. Quite a few of the players thought it was, because Joe was pointing towards the centre, and that's premature. That, although what it might do is perhaps help the stewards to control what now is in danger of happening. If they sent them a bit further back, might prevent it from getting out of hand at the very end. In fact, we make it about 35 seconds still to play, but Everton must know how close it is now. The game's going on with a gentleman, an official on the pitch in a white shirt. He's obviously going to play outside right. Here's Sharp. McCall. And they're still on the pitch, the official. McCall. Foul from behind, Beardsley. That was panic. Now, can Everton do it again? We are now in stoppage time. Well, there's no Sheedy there now, of course. It's going to be Stephen. Can he make it 3-3 and force a replay? Or can McDonald? Well, it was close. From Neil McDonald. And there were a few people reaching for their diaries then. This would, I imagine, be Everton's last chance. Grobbelaar had it covered. Whistles all round the stadium. And Liverpool have won the FA Cup, the first leg of the double, and perhaps softened the pain that so many of their supporters have been through recently. And in a fine, dramatic final, surely lifted the spirits of a whole city and of the game of football. The scenes on the pitch won't be appreciated in terms of the fans that got on, but what will be appreciated is the quality and the excitement that ran through this FA Cup final, especially in extra time. Liverpool had to take the lead 3 times in order to win the Cup. They held the first 1-0 advantage until the dying seconds of normal time. And then in extra time, Ian Rush scored the 2 goals, which has sent the Red Army into a great mood of jubilation. Well, if rehabilitation was needed, then this game will have done football and Liverpool no harm at all. But today, it's all about that famous old trophy, which has the red and white ribbons on it now. They had to sort of take it down for half an hour. And a song that has become all too familiar over the last 5 weeks echoes around Wembley, this time in joyful circumstances. Neville Southall has just sat down by his goalpost and tried to contemplate all that's gone on. playing no part at all at the moment in the celebrations and commiserations, as Ronnie Whelan, in his first season as Liverpool captain, a player who a year ago wasn't even in the 13 for the match against Wimbledon, walks up to receive the FA Cup from Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Kent, who, with her reported liking for Liverpool, will enjoy presenting it to him perhaps nearly as much as Ronnie Whelan enjoys receiving it. Liverpool are FA Cup winners for the 4th time, and they hope that the championship is still to come to give them their 2nd double. That may well depend on Arsenal, we shouldn't overlook that. But for the moment, after the tribulations and the commiseration of the last 5 weeks, there are smiles back on Liverpudlian faces. And even though there will be those who feel it's all a bit too soon, one day, sooner or later, this famous club had to get back on its feet, and the players had to go back to do what they do best. And they've certainly achieved that today in a fluctuating final to which Everton contributed considerably after starting the match poorly in the 90 minutes, but coming good at the end and again briefly in extra time. So Kevin Ratcliffe, his 4th FA Cup final as a captain, itself a record, but for the 3rd time he's a loser. And there's obviously bitter disappointment on these Everton faces, because when they forced extra time with virtually the last kick of the 90 minutes, you had a feeling maybe the psychological edge was with them, but it wasn't to be, Trevor Brooking. What did you make of all that excitement as Kenny Dalglish responds to the roar of the crowd?
Well, I think in the end, the right result came in 3-2. They looked as if they were going to win for the first hour comfortably. Liverpool couldn't turn it into goals. Everton bravely fought back, couldn't quite get the breakthrough, and then just as we thought it had slipped away from them, got the equaliser. Then into extra time, Rush got onto the score sheet early again. Stuart McCall got his 2nd, and then Neville Southall there, just collecting his medal, beaten again by Ian Rush. And I think over those 120 minutes, Liverpool just about deserved to edge it. But a great match, and one I'm sure we'll all remember.
Let me just refresh your memory as to how the scoring went. Aldridge in the 4th minute, the goal that looked as though it would win the cup. Stuart McCall in the very last seconds of the 90 minutes, forcing extra time. Ian Rush putting Liverpool back in front 5 minutes into the 1st period. Then McCall again, still in the 1st period of extra time, making it 2-2. And only 2 minutes later, just to show that Liverpool's spirit is never broken, Rush came again with a header from Barnes' cross for his 2nd goal and Liverpool's 3rd. And it finished Liverpool 3, Everton 2.
Here